Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Realm of Ori. In this video, we will continue with Volume 18, Chapter 3, Reminiscences of the Clowns, Part 8. If you haven't watched the previous video or chapter, you can find the link in the description below. Before we begin, this video contains light novel spoilers. If you do not want to be spoiled, do not watch it. And, if you will continue, an additional disclaimer notice. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Dino looks at the ground and thinks about what's going on. How did that happen? No matter how many times he tries to figure it out, he can't. A long time ago, Veldanava gave him a part and sent him to Earth. At the time, he didn't think he had much an ego, but he eventually learned to think for himself. When he asked Pico and Gracia about it, they seemed to have grown their own egos around the same time. Things went wrong, and Dino and his friends become fallen. He became a demon lord to carry out the orders of his now dead lord. That was his only goal in life. Dino kept his eyes open. He planned to stay out of Guy and Rudra's game and just watch how it turned out. He was always there for Veldanava. Dino thought that he would definitely come back before the end of the world. Then they got together. That strange slime, a soul's brilliance that could be seen at a glance. Although it was distinct from Veldanava, it felt comfortable. Then the good times started. He hated to work, but he didn't mind being used by people. Dino almost couldn't believe it, but he was happy about it for some reason. Because that's where he met people he could work with. Oh, but even so, I still betrayed Ramirez. Dino regrets attacking Ramirez 5 months ago. He betrayed Rimuru and the others on Feldway's orders and let the enemy into the labyrinth. Then he went to get Ramirez, who was the most important target. Dino was told to kill her if she couldn't be caught, but he didn't plan to do that. He didn't really want to kill her, he just wanted to lock her up with deep hypno and hide it. Whether it was good or bad, the plan didn't work out. He was now wondering why he had done something so bad. No. So, I guess that proves that he was telling the truth. Dino thinks this is the case. He didn't want to make excuse after excuse for betraying Ramirez, but he was pretty sure Michael was in control. In other words, I can't fight Michael or Feldway as long as I have Heavenly King Astardi. Really, you've got to be joking, right? Even though he understood the situation well, he couldn't come up with a good way to get out of it. Dino was saved because Rimuru believed in him. He is smart, but he is also soft. Even though he's easy to trick, you can never be too careful around him. Dino looks down at his right arm and sees a blue butterfly mark. He believed that Zijin had missed it, but it appears that the birthmark served as a passageway between his mind and heart. So, through that mark, Rimuru was able to get in touch with him. He is so smart, I can't believe it. Even though he spoke right to his heart, he still got all of his information. He also forced him to spy without punishment. Dino, on the other hand, didn't feel disgusted or anything like that. Instead, he felt strangely refreshed. He was happy that Rimuru believed him, which was a surprise. See you later, huh? Dino realized that he felt truly happy for the first time in a long time. Then he reflected, what a difficult situation, to himself. Dino had no plans to betray Veldanava, who made him. Dino thinks he should work with Michael and Feldway if their goal is to bring Veldanava back to life. Dino was feeling better, so he waited with a smile for Feldway and the others. Arios wonders. Kigali and the others who were above him were talking, but he had no idea what they were saying. Although his gut told him it wouldn't be a smart idea, he wanted to protest. Kigali had control over Arios. Even though he had become a Jotun through the undead elf, the spell still worked. If he had woken up on his own, things would have been different, but since his evolution was planned, the Dominion had to get stronger. Arios was aware of his situation, but he didn't have time to feel angry. He felt invincible because he had so much power. The most important change was that his unique skill, Murderer, had turned into the ultimate enchantment Conviction King Sandalphon. Michael got Conviction King Sandalphon back from Kondu and gave it to Arios. Murderer was used to do this, but Arios couldn't just stop using it. Arios, on the other hand, wasn't unhappy. He was just happy to have the power and continued to wait for his turn. Arya the Orca was confused. She couldn't afford to hear what other people were saying, so she talked to herself. What am I? Am I Arya? Or Orca? I have no idea. I'm Arya, but I'm also Orca. Even though they were confused, they felt their minds coming together. It wasn't bad, in fact, it was pretty good. I am Orlia. This is when she figured out what to do. Even as a newborn, Orlia was capable of using the abilities of a top-notch warrior and wizard. Also, the ultimate enchantment alternative that was given to her was optimized in Orlia and changed into the ultimate enchantment multiple weapons. This made it possible for Orlia to use the experience she has gained over the years to make different weapons. There was a limit to how many weapons could be used at once, but the grade was still the same as mythical grade. Orlia wasn't afraid to fight her enemies because she had a lot of weapons. Mai Furuki was hopeless. She thought she was dead, but she was actually alive again. The problem was that even though Mai had more power, she still couldn't make her dream of going back to Japan come true. I'm not giving up. My unique skill, Traveler, wasn't able to do it, but Yuki-kun said it might be possible. If a skill comes from wanting something, then there must be a power that can make what I want happen. At that moment, when her heart was empty and she thought this, the Seraphim were possessed and Mai's Traveler evolved at the same moment that Michael's ultimate enchantment alternative was ingested. It turned into the ultimate enchantment world map. She can not only picture any place in the world, but also understand what is going on there. This is a very powerful ability. Even more amazing is that you can now use instantaneous movement to go anywhere you want without changing the time. For someone with spatial skills, this was an amazing ability. Mai's wish was not granted, though. This world map only showed coordinates for this world. In other words, the dimensional barrier could not be crossed. Mai didn't even have to try to get it. It was very sad, but Mai was no longer free no matter what. Michael had access to everything. Mai would keep her heart closed and keep doing what she was told until she could finally go visit her beloved younger brother. People who have been reborn as Jotun aren't the only ones who are trying to figure out what's going on. Zelario and Obera were also thinking about what was going on with them. First, Zelario was happy with the new body he had gotten. He had a lot of power, but he could only use it in the other world. In the cardinal world, he lost energy the more he used his power. To stop this from happening, a body was needed, but it was hard to make a vessel that could hold up against the power of someone as strong as Zelario. Now that that problem was solved, he would be able to show how strong he really was, but there was still a big problem. Oh, no, I seem to have learned the angelic system skill, Judgment King Israfil, because my power has grown. That was the issue, indeed. When Zelario was reborn, he had the ultimate skill, Judgment King Israfil. I can't go against Michael with this. But if I threw it away, people would think I was a traitor. From Zelario's point of view, Feldway is a colleague, and even though he knows Feldway is his superior, he doesn't have to obey him completely. Also, he had doubts about Michael. Feldway is confident in Michael, but Zelario isn't. Zelario wasn't so easy to persuade with a skill-based will. He was sure of their goal and agreed with it for now, but he didn't know if that would always be the case. There was no question that he didn't want to have an angelic skill in case their paths ever went in different directions. The Judgment King Israfil had however been attained. Michael's will wouldn't get in the way as long as it wasn't the ultimate enchantment. There's no question that he picked up this skill naturally, so it didn't make sense to get rid of it. Now I'm curious about what Michael knows about it. Since he could control Velgrund and Velzard, there was no doubt that he could also control the angelic skills. But he should change what he does based on how well he can get close to the owner of the system. My will is my own, and I won't let anyone change it without telling me. Zelario was a logical thinker. So, even though he didn't like the operation, he didn't try to take control of the true Dragon Sisters out of respect for how well it worked. And now he was back where he had started. Wow, what a mess. Since he didn't try to stop it in the first place, he was to blame for where he was now. Even so, he thought about what to do about Michael. Obera was just like him. She didn't want it either, just like Zelario. The ultimate skill, Salvation King Azrael, was what Obera got. It was a very powerful skill, but she couldn't use it. The explanation for this is that people who were born as primordial beings already had the power of administration without needing a skill. They could use any kind of magic right away, and if they used it to its full potential, they wouldn't need skills. It was simpler to use and could be used for anything. Obera and the others already lived at the highest level, so it didn't matter if they had ultimate skill or not. So, even though she didn't want it, she got it at this time. She was also fairly sure it was an angelic system skill. This is a bad thing. If I don't do anything, they might think I'm not loyal. Obera was in a worse situation than Zelario because she had planned to change completely. So what should she do now? Obera had an idea. She wouldn't be afraid of someone reading her mind. She had no trouble getting rid of the thoughts on the surface of her mind. But if she was manipulated without knowing it, this wouldn't be the case, so she had to think of a way to stop it. Let's make a suggestion to ourselves. Obera decided. She wouldn't think twice to destroying Salvation King Azrael if an internal conflict erupted. She could do such strange things because she was the highest form of spiritual life. It would be a complete break from Feldway if it occurred, though. Even Obera might not be safe, depending on what was going on. Obera thought there was no reason to be concerned, though, because Milam was the orphan daughter of Veldanava. It would be rude of us to try to figure out what the creator is thinking. Feldway is too selfish, even if he might not be able to come back to life on his own. That was the truth. Obera also thought Milam was the legitimate successor.